Sometimes suffering is just suffering. In case you didn't know that. But it is. Even if people try to justify suffering as something good, as something special, as something meaningful. No, not exactly. Even though you do have a point where if you don't suffer, you don't know what good is, you know? Which is flawed. Because we know what is good and we know what is bad. You know this, I know this, we know this. So the fact that you said that is BS, you know? It sounds idiotic. Without suffering, you don't know what is good. Truly good. Now we know what is truly good. That is just instinctual, and that's just intuition and empathy and all these feelings and whatnot. Apathy, I guess, is that the right word? Empathy and apathy. Yeah, I guess it is. Sure, suffering does build character. But too much of it can destroy. Too much of one thing destroys. Doesn't matter if it's good for your body or what. Because the law of the universe, the law of life is balance. The yin and yang, the dualities. Dualism. Hot and cold. Warm. You add hot with cold, you get warm. Which is what we are, warm-blooded. We can't stand too hot, we can't stand too cold. Some animals are hot-blooded, they're attracted to cold. Some animals are cold-blooded and attracted to heat. And some are like us, mammals. But anyways, impoverished people have no basic necessities to get ahead in life. Even if they were to get ahead in life, quote in quote, what am I trying to say? Even if they were to, in quotation marks, get ahead in life, they need those basic things, semicolon. People get hurt in catastrophes / natural disasters. They become disabled when helping others, in parentheses, burning buildings, demolished buildings, ditches, or drains or sewers, car accidents, etc. Semicolon, constantly getting hurt by other people, in parentheses, bullied, abused, used, in another parentheses, trust issues, doing everything by themselves, had to grow up too quickly, the lost inner child. Yeah. You grow up too quickly, you've seen all these chaos and all these things that you are too young to even fathom, too young to even process and understand and interpret, to even comprehend. And then it affects you, product of your environment. And then it also affects you in your adulthood because you never really had a good childhood that acts as a foundation, the basis for you to like go through life, traverse through life, trudge through life to see that, you know, life is not all good and life is not all bad. But then if you experience a lot of bad from a young age and then carry it into your adulthood, and I hope it gets better, you know, just like people say, it always gets better. Well, not really, especially in this day and age. So cull your BS. You know, people say that one too many times and it's just annoying as heck. And they try to justify their suffering and other people's suffering. Especially these religious people, you know. That's why religion corrodes your brains for the most part. It really does. So I would suggest you maybe step out of it. If it really gets the hold of you, the hang of you, maybe you want to step back. But other than that, it's just a cope. And your cope is not other people's copes, so don't try to shove it down their throats. That rhymes. Damn. I guess I'm also an innate, adept, natural born rapper. Just kidding. I'm just saying. But in all seriousness, back to the topic. Suffering just hurts sometimes. How many times have you gone through the same exact things or similar? or when you long for a good day, a good moment and whatnot. You just want things to be peaceful, harmonious. You just want a setting and situation and environment to be alright, stable, calm, right? Peace of mind. Nope, it's closely followed by some chaos, some stir-ups, some mix-ups, something problems, you know. It's always problems on top of problems on top of problems. It's stacked. And that also breaks character, as I said. Suffering breaks character. It doesn't really build. It also breaks. You know, as you can see from the image on the screen as you're listening to me yap about this topic. There's an image of Sam Winchester burning, you know. And one of it, he also speaks with Metatron, the scribe of God. You know, the one that can translate. I don't know if he can translate or not, but at least he holds the tablet or something. Or maybe he writes the text and the scripts once the prophet has translated, you know. aka if you watch Supernatural, you know what I'm talking about. The prophet is named Kevin Tran, and he has to translate the tablets, the angel and demon tablet, and then he's supposed to reach Metatron, being the scribe of God, and then he writes and all that, and then, you know, blah blah blah. I got a little bit into those religion type stuff, even though screw it. Even though religion is in Supernatural, I'm separating it, and I'm just enjoying the show, killing all those monsters and all that, saving people, hunting things, the family business. And then now the characters are about to be in The Boys, you know, the upcoming season. We already got Bobby Singer, we already got John Winchester, and we got Dean Winchester. Now I need Castiel and Sam Winchester. And then maybe Mary Winchester also. Maybe Samuel Winchester. Or Campbell, sorry, Samuel Campbell. You know, might as well just throw all of them in the mix. Anyways, just need some time to think, you know, about this word suffering. Because it's what a lot of us go through, or actually all of us. Not just humans, even animals. You see animals immediately being removed from this existence, immediately being de-existed, right out of the womb of their mothers, ripped out of the womb, ripped out of her carriage, you know, ripped out of the cradle, which is inside her, you know. Her body acts as the cradle to support life, support her offspring, and she gets hunted, running for dear life, and her fetus, her child, her young gets ripped out. Can't imagine. That's the safari and the wildlife of this fucking planet. That's how brutal and cold this life is, nature. And most of those animals, they already have an innate ability built in, pre-installed, to adapt with life. That's why a lot of these offsprings and the young of these animals, once they are given birth, they already know what to do. Most of them can already walk. Compared to us humans, we are still crawling, we need to be taught to walk and all. We won't make it at all if we were in those animals' places, in their shoes. We will get ripped apart. We will get ripped apart. You know, maybe the family member, one of them might sacrifice someone, and then it's the sacrificial lamb, no pun intended. And then we get ripped to shreds, and then they just run for dear life, and then they create another offspring. But we are able to do that is because we live in a society. We are living in a society. You know, George Costanza from Seinfeld, he said that. So, suffering don't always build character, it also breaks character. It just hurts and hurts and hurts. Just like the images that are displayed on the screen that you see before you. You know, Sam was burning because his soul is trapped in perdition, you know. And then death said, don't scratch the wall. And his soul is not all there, you know, it's only like 50% or something. So the more Sam, quote unquote, scratches the wall, it's like he's burning also. That's why sometimes he collapses, because he's experiencing the immense intense heat, you know. When he was possessed by the morning star and he jumped into the hole that leads to the morning star's cage, and then part of him is also stuck there, trapped, you know. So he was brought back, I don't know how, I don't know by whom. Maybe in the forward seasons it was mentioned, but I don't remember. But he was soulless, Sam. And then he started to do all these sus evil things, you know. You know, the Winchesters have suffered so much. Even Dean said it himself. Have I not given enough? Have I not done enough? Have I not suffered enough? You know, when he was quarreling with Bobby. You stupid son of a bitch. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm so sorry I hurt your feelings. Princess. If you watch Supernatural, you know what I'm talking about. Your daddy, or your dad was a coward. My dad is a lot of things, but a coward? You should talk with your brother, Dean. I already did, but he doesn't listen. So try again. If he wants to be that way, I just let him be, you know. I told him, when you walk out that door, you don't come back, and he walked out anyway. You sound like a whiny brat. So yeah, that's pretty much the depiction of a lot of us, right? The Winchester suffering, because quote unquote the Gabriel, right, chosen, Sam and Dean were destined, chosen for that moment when he was trapped in the holy fire. When Dean and Winchester caught Dean and Winchester, yeah, fantastic. Dean and Sam Winchester caught on to Gabriel, and they figured out that he's an archangel, not just a trickster, you know. And then he said, Dean and Sam were destined. Dean was supposed to be possessed by Michael, and Sam was supposed to be possessed by the morning star, aka Lucifer. And then they fight, you know. But it's just a whole bunch of stupidity and wackiness, if that's a word. It's just lame. It's just dumb. All this idiotic stuff between the angels and humanity, you know. Religion, right? And it also goes to show that it's fictional and whatnot. You can just make up a bunch of stories and say, you are destined for this, you are destined for that, when there's pretty much no correlation whatsoever. But you just randomly select, you know. Entropy, random. Search it up, entropy, randomness. You just get plopped into this life. Random country, random religion, random family, random setting, random environment. And then it affects the quota and the quantity and the level of your suffering meter. And if it gets out of hand, it's way too crazy, way too unmanageable, you know, humanly manageable. It surpasses that means it's difficult. And then when the going gets tough, the tough can't keep going, cannot, because the tough is human. They need to retreat, they need to kick back a little, They need to relax. They just can't keep going and going and going and going. Go, go, go. No, no, no. They need to stop and stare. You start to wonder why you're here, not there, you know? One Republic. You have to relax a bit. I think it's sick of us. It's time to make our move. Da, 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 da. Steady hands, don't fail me now. Gonna run till you can walk. Gotta make one last appeal for the life I've led. I'm probably mixing up the lyrics. But yeah, you gotta stop and stare. And then you start to wonder why you're here, not there. If you just keep on putting up with suffering and you justify, you know, even if you let other people justify. Your suffering, some of it is unjustified, it's stupid. It just happens to you, especially if you're someone like me, you know, cursed, destined to be a you know what, BP. This is what sickens me down to my fucking core. I look up to the sky and I get so pissed because I know who the fuck is doing it. I wasn't like this before, you know. I wasn't. So damn you, fucking evil creator, if there is one. Fuck you, kiss my ass. Kiss those people's asses that you have wronged and caused to suffer beyond measure. When they ask to stop, please cut me some slack, give me a break, it's too much. Nope, nope, nope. I want you to continuously suffer. So tell me, does the end justify the means? Does the punishment fit the crime? When you have stupid retards constantly justifying the unjustifiable, which is suffering, at least to some degree. And then they cause you and coerced you and coaxed you to justify your own suffering. Brainwash much. Brainwash much indeed. It's almost like Stockholm Syndrome that you can't really see. You are so illusionized, I guess. And you should disillusion yourself and see that it's wrong and pathetic and stupid and disgusting to constantly put up suffering. Things are gonna get better. Last I checked, only time things got better is when you made it better. There's no, or maybe there is, okay, but it's evil. People like to say, well, it's God from high above, God is good all the time, that made you feel good because he knows, or it knows, that you need to catch a breather. You're only human. After all, don't put the blame on me, you know. Katy Perry, and I bleed when I fall down, and I'm crashing on breakdown. Words in my head, knives in my heart. You'll rip me up when I fall apart, because I'm only human. No, the only time when you got good things is because of yourself. That's what I believe. And to be honest, it oftentimes seems like that, you know. Unless by some stroke of luck that the universe blesses you with, out of random, out of pocket, which is so rare also. But other than that, it's just your own efforts, your due diligence that you quote-unquote suffered. Because pretty much anything you do is part of suffering. You have to do things you don't want to do sometimes to get that comfort. That's why there's a saying, suffer now, enjoy later. Now is suffer, now suffer forever till the day you die, till your end of days. Baron Corbin, WWE, SmackDown, wrestling. You know? You know what I'm saying? Suffering till the end of days. Work, 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 work. It also contradicts the saying, if you don't work while you sleep, you will work until you die. Nah, no. even if you don't sleep, you still work till you die pretty much because of this fucking retarded inflation that is human made. So tell me, you still want to justify your suffering? Besides the fact that it builds character and makes you strong and more wise and all that, because it's also like what the Beast said from Split, the movie Split, James McAvoy. Only through pain can you achieve greatness. The ones that have endured so much and suffered are the pure ones, and they should rejoice. Just like me, just like all of you that are watching and listening, and others also. Only through pain can you achieve greatness, but at this point in time, any additional suffering is just to tease you and play with you like you're a chew toy, like you're a plaything. Notice that? You still want to justify? You want to justify those suffering? I didn't think so, because I'm not. Because we have our rights as citizens of planet Earth, and we deserve to enjoy its fruits. The fruits that we planted. We deserve to eat from that too. We deserve to make our bed and make our bread. We make our bed and lie in it. We make our bread and eat it. To satiate our hunger. To make sure our hunger is satiated. Same thing. But no, a lot of things are priced, right? Price tag here, price tag there. And they have to work, suffer relentlessly, as if we are robots, which we are not. Okay, we are human, we are carbon-based beings, we are sentient, and then we are constantly put to suffer in this day and age, or pretty much from a long time ago, But nowadays, it just seems like it's a lot worse despite the advancements and the infrastructures and all these things and what not. It's just downright dumb and idiotic and retarded. It's a lot worse for us youngsters, young generations, because of inflation, which is ever rising year on year. Back to back, every fucking year it rises. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Why is it every damn year it rises? Might as well, it's probably not even a year, it's months. Next 3 months increase by how many percentage? Next 2 months, next month. Don't forget the saying of the indigenous American or Canadian, the Cree, if I'm not mistaken. Don't forget the Cree saying, when all the fish has died, all the water has been poisoned, and the last tree has been cut down, etc., etc. One day we'll realize we can't eat money. You stupid fuck. Stupid fucks. Always wanting money that you can easily print from your massive printer. High speed, high powered, military grade, high tech. Print, put some value on it. Sprinkle some salt and pepper on it. You want to act like it's the thing, the main thing that people have to look towards. You dumb fucks. And that people suffer relentlessly, impoverished. And then you want to say it builds character. All your suffering is necessary. When in the current situation you see that person is so torn down, so destroyed, hopeless, they don't really feel much is going on in their lives or in life in general. But you want to shame them? You want to guilt trip and gaslight them and say that their suffering was necessary? You, my friend, probably had it easier than them, and that is so easy for you to justify. And even if you've been through worse than them or about the same quantity, same level, not everyone's the same. And pretty much you are probably brainwashed and you don't read between the lines and you don't identify that your suffering is unnecessary and stupid and was put there for no reason, on purpose. You know, this person that you shamed has seen it that is BS and nonsensical, and therefore they just retreat. They just sit back and relax and don't take it too seriously. This suffering is meaningless. One day it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Unlike you, my friend, you're still brainwashed. You can't see it, you don't see it, or maybe you do, but you just act nonchalant and you're ignorant, which you shouldn't be, and that is stupid in and of itself. Why would you do such a thing? Why would you ignore these things when it's clearly out in the open, clearly obvious? You can see with your naked eye that is dumb. These sufferings that you still go through is meaningless. You want to say it builds character, you want to say that it's meaningful and all that, and then you want to put it on others as well. And then if other people speak about it, instead of complaining, whining, you know, you are dumb if you still don't see it. And it's even worse if you want to bring kids. You want to bring kids to suffer just like you, or worse. Most likely worse. Most likely. As you can see, inflation is ever so rising, right, for no reason. Year on year, month on month. For no reason, literally. Oh, this has been disrupted. Oh, we can't afford this, afford that. Oh my gosh. Problems with other countries. Turmoils and whatnot, you know. Trade cancellation. Our relations are dwindling. It's spiraling out of control. Our relations and connections are not really tight-knit like before. And then we might cut ties. And then trade is affected. This and that. You know, out of pocket, you just don't like this country and whatnot. You know, people say that these people in charge are toddlers in suits. They are not kidding and they're not wrong. Literally, you know, it's like playing with toys, playing with the choo-choo trains on the rails. You know, we wanna move the locomotive over there, carrying all the cargo. And then suddenly, no, let's do it like this, okay? Instead of going front, you make it go the other way. You reverse it. And then it goes in another direction, and then no, change the mind, this, that. And then you don't like it, you have a quarrel with each other and fight, and then go to war and make the citizens and locals fight for it, you know? When they like that country that you don't like. Ironic. Let's say country A doesn't like country B. The prime ministers or the presidents I'm talking about. But then, you know, and then it got out of control, they want to go to war. But then the citizens of country A likes citizens of country B. But the prime ministers or presidents in their respective countries don't like each other. And then you see, the president or prime minister of country A wants the citizens and locals to fight those from country B, or vice versa. Absolutely dumb. You start wars because you had a quarrel or something? How does that make sense? It doesn't. It's just childish and stupid and retarded. That's all. End of story, close the book, chapter 1, chapter done, no cliffhangers. So yeah, I guess that's about it I have to say. Just take a good look at Sam Winchester, the images that I put on the screen. Suffering just hurts and hurts and hurts. How many times did Sam and Dean Winchester die? Brought back to life, made deals, And then you have the savior, the angel, the friendly angel Castiel, always getting them out of trouble and all that. And then sometimes you have Crowley that comes around and he's like goofy and all, but he's still a demon, a crossroads demon. And other characters that help them along the way, you know. And after that, when Dean got impaled by the thing, he just decided to die, you know. He doesn't want to be brought back to life again, just like old times, right? Just like the tradition, the hunter's tradition and culture to do that, I guess. Or maybe not, maybe it's just his own. And then Sam gets to live until he's old with a family and all. Yeah. I mean, I feel real sad for Dean. Suffered and suffered for so long, and then his final fate is to end up getting impaled by the spike because the werewolf pushed him, you know, charged at him and then impaled him on the thing, and then he wanted to move but he couldn't. He felt a tingling, a tinge of pain or something, and then I think Sam touched his back and it was bleeding. Yeah, and then Sam started crying, you know. And after that, Dean died. So sad. At least Sam, you know, before he died, he still got to live his life like how he always wanted. I guess it's foreshadowing, maybe. Maybe a long time ago from the past, those earlier seasons, is like foreshadowing Dean's final fate in the forward episodes, forward seasons. And then Sam and Chester dropped out of Stanford College because he wants to join the hunter's journey and all that. But you see, before he joined, he wanted to have a normal life, and then foreshadowing, now Dean died and then he has a normal life with a family and all, and grew old and then passed away, met his brother in heaven, met Bobby Singer and all that, you know. It's just sad. Yeah, suffering just hurts, okay? It's not always justified. It's not. Suffering is not always justified because look at those impoverished people. Constantly fighting, trying to survive and all that, moving from places to places like nomads. Living in camps, you know, which is also tough. They want proper homes, proper basic necessities. Alright? That is if they don't wind up dead, you know, being bombed, being shot, having a bullet or bullets ricochet and then hitting them. And they want to say that, oh, their suffering is justified, the suffering was well worth it, because they are still able to progress and prevail. They don't give up and all. No, it's meaningless. They only do that because it's instinctual, obviously, and they're trying to survive. But to what end? To what outcome? To what outcome? If it leads to nowhere and it's meaningless, all in all, then they might as well stop. I don't want to sound cruel or harsh or anything, but when they pass away, that's merciful. Unless you can lend a helping hand and get them out of their rut, get them out of their situation, get them out of their mess, and lead them to proper livelihoods. Otherwise, shut your damn mouth. Shut your fucking mouths. Shut your damn mouths about justifying suffering when they're constantly doing it. Constantly doing it to no end. To meaningless ends. To a meaningless end. And I feel real sorry for them especially when they believe that you'll all get better eventually. I'm afraid not. unless you by hook or by crook ASAP get evacuated. Other than that, most likely you're gonna get bombed. Most likely you're gonna get a full metal jacket go through your skull, ricochet, crossfire. And then begging for food, water, shelter and all that. Suffering. And like I said, they only do that because it's for survival and it's instinctual. Otherwise they'll stop if it leads to nowhere, especially. And then they blindly believe that it gets better, which by the looks of it, unfortunately not really. The risks are high. But those that made it, sure, you could say that. Those that made it to safety just in time, but it's only a few. It's not everyone, and it's not that many. Most have died. Most have passed. Most have departed and de-existed from this existence. You know, when they're trying to make it out of there and get ahead, right? Quote unquote, get ahead. But they don't have the means to do those things. Adios.